So, I've been asked a lot of questions about how the pandemic is affecting our business, MP Law Professional Corporation. And, these inquiries have been coming in from referral sources, realtors, mortgage brokers. Friends have been asking, my mom every night. So I figured instead of responding to people one at a time, I'll do a video. I'll post it on Facebook, and perhaps there'll be some updates in the coming weeks about how we're making out for those that are interested. So the first question I get a lot is, how has our office been affected by the pandemic, and what can clients expect differently from dealing with us during this period? So one of the first things that you should know is that, like any business, we've been affected quite significantly. I'd say the first thing you'd notice is if you walk into our office, it looks a lot different. So we've got two main offices. Our main Whitby office is still closed to the public, or it is closed to the public, and we have set up plexiglass screens in different spots so that we limit any interaction or any physical interaction between our staff and anybody who happens to come to the office. We are closed to the public now, so we are really encouraging social distancing for a few reasons. Obviously, because we want to do our part and follow what the government guidelines are, but also to keep our employees safe. That's our number one priority. And also to keep our clients safe and to do our part in reducing the spread of the virus. So our physical space is different, but a lot has changed behind the scenes as well. So most of our staff now is working remotely. We do have a small group of individuals that do attend at our Whitby office, and they are doing certain functions within the office that are kind of hard to do remotely. But everybody else is working remotely now, and that works pretty well. We also do have a Stouffville office as well, for those of you that know. And so we've got a smaller group they're operating out of that office as well. As far as how the client experience would be different, for real estate clients, the experience is substantially different. So, we've gone from a really high touch, personal kind of experience with clients where they come in, talk to us about their files, and of course, sign up their closing documents with us. That's just not possible now. A lot of clients don't want that, and we certainly don't want to encourage that as well. So what we have gone to for the closing process as far as doing sign-ups is, because we still are required to obtain wet signatures on most documents because lenders require them, or most lenders require them, we have to do video sign-ups. So we've come up with a process around that. We send out a video link to our clients. We send them our documents in advance, typically by email. They print them out at home, or occasionally we have to send them out by Purolator. Client meets with a lawyer and actually does the sign up just as they would in ordinary times, but just through video link. So we get a copy of their ID, we watch them sign the documents, and we witness the documents when they come back. And also we explain the documents to them. So there is, the great thing about video is there's an opportunity to engage in a dialogue. So as you can imagine, for some individuals, it's hard for us to do a video sign up. And so on an exception basis only, we do allow for individuals, for example, that don't have internet access and cannot do a video sign up, we will allow the occasional in-office sign up. And that's because we've got a process where they come in, they don gloves right away. They're told to go into our boardroom, which is already set up with a Skype video conference. So they are doing a video conference. They're just doing it within our office, but again, not having any contact with our staff. So the other significant change that we've been doing is sending a lot of wires. As a law firm that does a lot of real estate, we're sending a lot of money in and out to complete those deals. And we tend to do that by wire almost exclusively now, as opposed to direct deposit. And the reason for that is because we don't want to unnecessarily have to be going to the bank and exposing our staff to going to the branch unnecessarily. One of the challenges with that is that some wires can take a little longer to travel between law firms or between bank and law firm. So, just like everything else in life these days, probably a good idea to just have your expectations in check as far as how long it takes for things to be completed. The last point I'd like to make is that our staff's been tremendous throughout. People have come up with some great suggestions and ideas about how to transform our business in a very short period of time. And I'm really grateful for their flexibility and just getting the job done, notwithstanding the challenging circumstances. The next question that I get a lot of is, what do we see happening with real estate volumes right now? It's a great question. And what's currently happening is actually a little surprising. We've seen over the last few weeks quite heavy volume. So deals coming in. Unfortunately, some of them have pretty aggressive closing dates, and that's created a real challenge. But the reality is that for the month of April, we're actually up considerably over this period last year. I don't have a crystal ball. It's not my job to kind of forecast where things are going. And so, I wouldn't take too much into that. But people are asking why I think the volumes are higher right now. And I've got a couple of theories. One is there's certainly a lot of people that were kind of in the pipe that either had to buy or sell. So clearly people that had already bought or sold and they just had closing dates that are landing in April and May. I mean, those people, were in the pipe prior. But there were some people that were kind of in the middle of the pipe. So they might have sold and not bought, or vice versa. And now they have to complete the second side. The other thing that's probably happening is there's probably some speculators out there. So people that have noticed that maybe there's less traffic to contend with as far as buying. So maybe there's less people actually putting in offers. They perhaps are seeing this as an opportunity to jump into the market where they were finding difficulty to do that before. And those people are probably taking advantage of low interest rates and buying at this time. And then there's some folks that perhaps were planning to buy or sell later in the spring, but are now feeling that it's best because there's some uncertainty about the closing process that they want to move up their closing dates even earlier. So we've seen that. Again, unfortunately, that's probably not recommended right now as far as going with a really aggressive closing date. The one thing that people should recognize is that everything's just taking a lot more time now. So, on the lender side, as far as getting commitments out, appraisals, and then getting mortgage instructions to lawyers, that's all taking longer. The process at the lawyer's office is taking longer as well. And, the movement of funds in the real estate cycle is taking much longer. The next question that we're getting a lot of lately is, are we seeing deals not close in this environment? We are seeing some deals that are getting extended. And again, for some of the same reasons that I talked about before. For the most part, it's just because things are taking longer and people are not ready to close when their closing date comes. A lot of that is because their lender isn't in a position to fund yet. They haven't satisfied their underwriting requirements, and therefore the deal has to get extended to allow the lender more time to fund. There are some other situations where people are inquiring about getting out of deals. For those of you that I've spoken to before about this, the reality is that we've seen that before in other markets, but we're probably seeing more of that now than we've seen at least since May of 2017, which was a period where we saw a lot of extension requests and quite a few deals that where there was breach of contract involved. I wouldn't say it's on the majority of our files. It's not even close. Probably closer to 10 to 15% that are either being extended or that there's a real problem in actually getting the closing done. But, enough that it's concerning. Hopefully we don't see that trend continue. I could talk to you about remedies in real estate. Bottom line is, you have a real estate contract. If it's firm and binding, there's not great avenues to get out of that contract. Occasionally, both sides are agreeable to do that. But for the most part, you're dealing with a seller, for example, that's already made other plans. And therefore, they're going to incur damages if you breach your contract as a buyer. We can talk about this in maybe another session about how that all works, forfeiture, deposit, but perhaps even more, because you're responsible for all damages resulting from a breach of contract, not just the deposit. And that's important to know. That's my video blog for today. I'm going to see if this is well received. If it is, we might do it again the next little while. And I certainly do have some more questions that I can get to that people have been asking me, and I can get out there.